Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Black.
And you know what, man? I don't trust that fucking monkey at Mystic Manor. He is the reason why we're on a trackless ride system to begin with, And I'm Rain Whalen.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that joke wouldn't land because it ties into today's episode. Mystic Manor is the Disneyland Hong Kong version of a haunted mansion.
Jesus Christ.
But since ghosts and ghouls don't really have the same effect on an Asian audience as they do an American audience, they changed the story to Mystic Manor, and everything that happens is because of a monkey opening Pandora's box, so
Jesus, what a that's a long walk for a small snack, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna try to turn it in. I was gonna try to do a bit involving Phantom Manor, which is the French version. They also had to change it because French people also have, they have literal catacombs of human bones underneath their city. So
right.
What's Happy Haunts gonna do to them?
Right.
So they changed it to have the story of Phantom Manor is like a gold mining, because it's in their frontier land. I'm getting way too into specifics. My bit didn't land very well, and that's that's fine. These things happen. I'm just gonna drink my really shitty Gatorade, not sponsored, and we're gonna move on with our lives.
Yeah.
So how have you been, buddy? Watch anything new lately?
Fine. Not really. Still watching From, which has been pretty rad. Let's see what else. I saw Mother Mary this weekend.
So
David Lowery's new film. Thanks to you, actually, because you have a free ticket with your A24 membership, and they only work with very specific theaters that you guys don't have there.
Because I wanted it to use it for Mother Mary, wasn't showing up, and then I was like, okay, because I got one for Backrooms. All right, I'll use it for Backrooms, and Synergy pops up, but it's not a participating theater, and
that's so annoying.
I know, dude. Yeah, I kind of want to be like, Synergy, fucking, I don't know, do something, please, for the love of God. But I'm sure it's just because Synergy is a relatively small chain, maybe.
Yeah,
so
maybe. Well, I'll take Backrooms since you're bringing it up. No, but no, man, Mother Mary was incredible. I loved it. I'm not sure everyone's gonna love it, but I most certainly did. And David Lowery is such a unique voice. He has created a film that, number one, has no male speaking lines. It is all female driven.
Amazing.
And at times, as the movie was going, I was like, this could be a play. Because it's a lot of dialogue. It's really just two people having a conversation. And I just loved it. I thought it was so good. There's a supernatural element to it. It's really interesting. It's all very allegorical and symbolic. And I thought it was really, really cool. And the music's not bad.
Because FK Twigs and Charlie XCX and Jack Antonoff worked on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta hear the soundtrack. And as soon as it got posted to Apple Music, yeah, dude, it's rad.
It is rad. Yeah. The music's dope. It was so good. And next week, or I guess this week, it is this week. Because it's Monday now. So this Friday, I'm gonna go see Holcomb, which I'm really, really excited about.
Dude, I love that Adam Scott is taking another crack at horror. Because I think his first horror movie was Krampus.
Oh yeah.
And so I love that he's gonna take another crack at horror. And with Neon, so dude, speaking of Mother Mary, I'm so disappointed that I feel like that movie was so heavily marketed because like I would see ads for it on Instagram
Yeah.
and like I really feel like A24 like really marketed that film. And anytime I brought it up to someone like at work, they'd be like, "What's that movie about?
Yeah.
How have you not heard of Mother Mary? Are you fucking kidding me?" Um, yeah, man. Dude, I want to see that so bad because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the last David Lowery film I saw, and I think I've talked about it on the show, was his adaptation of Peter Pan and Wendy.
Nudging.
Or his version was called Peter Pan and Wendy. It was an adaptation of Peter Pan. It wasn't bad, you know. He in the realm of live action Disney films, you know, it wasn't a shot for shot remake. He, from everything I read, wanted to really more so adapt the book rather than do a shot for shot remake. And the cast was good, you know, Jude Law as Captain Hook, Jim Gaffigan as Smee. Um, it just, I don't know, something didn't feel right about it, but you know, Lowry's visual style was very much there. Like you could tell it was a David Lowery film. It was fine.
Mhm.
I need to see his version of Pete's Dragon. I've heard his version of Pete's Dragon is incredible. I think that's why Disney probably asked him to come back and do another one.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to see Mother Mary so bad, dude.
Yeah,
God.
I am just so I impressed isn't the word, because to be impressed I would need to be like on his level, and I'm not. So I guess I'm just like in awe of his his philosophy of one for you, one for me, you know?
Yeah.
And that it
Yeah.
is truly that. I mean, he is doing a studio film, you know, like a big budget, whatever, and then he's doing a smaller, you know, more
Mm.
subdued art house sort of flick, and he'll just do one at a time, just like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Because I think he was working on Mother Mary when he directed the one episode of the Star Wars show Skeleton Crew.
Mhm.
Um, which honestly, after I learned that that was him, I went back and rewatched the episode.
Yeah,
And you could also tell it's very much a David Lowery.
sure.
Like, and it's one of my favorite ones because it's actually really fucking good. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, as soon as I heard that he was working on a new film, Anne Hathaway was involved, I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I don't need to see anything. And then I saw that first trailer, and I was like, dude, you've already made the sale.
It's
Like
awesome. Yeah, it's super, super good. Definitely recommend. Hopefully you'll be able to see it sooner than later. Because it was rad. Yeah, and then,
yeah,
so I'm looking forward to not his next film, but the one after that. 'Cause,
yeah,
you know, he'll have to do one for them uh after this, but you know, whatever. Because he does.
what
I mean,
if
it literally is that, because he had said that I use the money I got from this to make this, you know, and that's just what
yeah,
he does. It's so cool.
yeah, what if it's another Disney one and they're like, hey, we want you to do the Lilo and Stitch sequel, and he's like, all right.
Fine. And he's going to come up with some insane thing to do after that, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like whatever he's got cooking next with whatever big budget thing is gonna be, I think it's gonna be real good.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, Peter Pan and Wendy, I wouldn't say it was a disappointment. It was just kind of like something feels like it's missing here. But again, it wasn't a bad movie. I was like, I feel like something's missing. But yeah, dude, got to see Mother Mary, and then I got to see Backrooms. I have to see
Yeah.
Backrooms.
They showed a trailer when I went to. It's the first one I'd seen.
Did it freak you out?
No, but it was like, because I'm familiar, kind of. I mean, to say I'm familiar is like I have heard of it and I've seen images, and that's about it. But yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor, super stoked for that. It looks good. Like it. At first, I was like, I don't know, you know, some analog horror creepypasta adaptation that's risky, you know.
Yeah.
But it looks good. So
Yeah. Nice. Haven't been watching much. Ashley and I were trying to get back on finishing a show called The Mighty Nine. I think I may have told you about it. If not,
Mm-hmm.
it's based on Critical Role's second D&D campaign called The Mighty Nine. Because they did an adaptation of their first campaign called The Legend of Vox Machina. It's great. It's on Prime. Highly recommend everyone go check it out. But then they did an adaptation of their second campaign, The Mighty Nine. We've just been trying to get back into it, but there's so much stuff to watch, man.
I know.
Like, gotta watch the final season of The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get geared up also for fucking Spider-Man Noir, dude.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that shit. Yeah, I haven't been watching much. However, I did watch a lot of stuff in preparation for this episode. So with that being said, Jeremy, are you ready to for me to remind everyone what we're talking about? Because
Yeah.
I have a feeling either A, this episode's also going to be really short, or B, it's actually going to be our longest one because you have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So this week, everyone, we are... Hang on, let me make sure I get the date right, because I worry I may have gotten the date wrong last week. Okay. This week, everyone, we are discussing the 2023 updated version comedy horror film Haunted Mansion. I actually specifically wore my Haunted Mansion shirt.
I noticed
for this episode. Yeah. So, okay. Obviously, I know we both have seen the Eddie Murphy version.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you when Ashley and I went and saw this in theaters that, and you told me you had no interest in seeing this.
That's true.
What were your expectations going into this? Because, like I mentioned last week, no offense to Eddie Murphy, we love Eddie Murphy. His version set the bar so low, in my opinion.
That's crazy.
So what were your expectations going into this?
Low. No. Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly zero expect, because like I had never thought I would ever see it, so it's like it just didn't interest me, you know. But honestly, man, like, anytime like Gonzo and Rizzo were on screen together, like I mean, it's just magic. I'm just kidding. I didn't watch the Muppet one, although I thought about doing that.
You should. It's really good. And that's how I also know you haven't seen that one, because unfortunately it's Gonzo and Pepe, which makes me mad because Gonzo and Rizzo are the better pair. But...
Well, in A Christmas Carol, I mean, it's just magic. Yeah. So no, I didn't watch the Muppet one. I did think about just like pretending like I had accidentally watched that one the whole time. Yeah, you know, it was pretty short, you know, and Miss Piggy's up to her, you know, there's games and all that, you know.
Here's what's crazy. I think this is going to get you to watch it. Will Arnett is in it.
I do, and like
he's like he's not just like a cameo. He's like a major part of the Muppet Haunted Mansion.
So anyway, so back to the one I did watch. At first I was pleasantly surprised by the sort of really leaning into the culture of New Orleans, and you know, the music, the superstitions, the, you know, like that sort of occult culture, right? And then they kind of just like let that go a little bit, and that's fine. I love Lakeith Stanfield, always will. I think he is just magnetic. He is the one to watch. I love him. I could have done without Tiffany Haddish.
I mean, actually, I could see that.
Listen. She does what she does. I do what I do, which is nothing, right? And it's just not for me. Like, her style of comedy is not for me. It
Mhm.
doesn't like it doesn't check my boxes, my funny bone. Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
The cameos were cool. Dan Levy always, literally for a minute and a half. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Stole the whole scene.
I mean, he's incredible. Winona Ryder, shock. You know, um, and to be honest, like I was really worried about the whole Jared Leto of it all, and
Yeah.
it's not gratuitous. It's just him, really, just in photographs or paintings and lithographs, um, and it's just a CGI thing the rest of the time. So
From
that's
from what I understand, with speaking of Jared Leto,
mhm.
they had a stand-in on set in the costume with a blue screen mask on.
Mhm.
From what I understand, I believe they did mocap Jared Leto's face
Hmm.
to, I guess, get the Hatbox Ghost sort of mannerisms. But yeah, it's just his voice, and that's it.
And not even then,
I was
right?
all
Because it's distorted enough to where it's like not even his voice.
uh, supposedly. I tried to find evidence after we saw the movie and subsequent watches. Supposedly, that's really his voice.
Okay,
They,
then I'm
according to Justin Simeon, the director, they altered it. I think he said like 5%. The other 95, it's all Jared, and I'm
okay.
like, okay,
Well, then then that's a good job. Like whatever.
yeah,
I will be asking a million questions just about um the actual story itself because I haven't. I mean, I rode the one at Disneyland when I was
um, uh,
14,
I was gonna say, I'm
so
sure you probably do not remember
I don't
it.
remember anything. The only thing I do remember, however, and I did recognize um the reference in the movie are the ballroom dancing, spinning ghosts. I remember that
Mm-hmm.
very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, okay, that's a reference to the ride. I like that. That was fine. Other than that, I have nothing. So, like, um, I think if I had one more complaint before we move on,
That's fine.
it's the cinematography. I thought it's just so dull and drab, and like a lot of the night scenes, I was like, it almost hurt my eyes because I was like trying to um sort of like unfuzz my vision, but I'm like, oh, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just the movie, you know.
Yeah, I will say there are some times, like, I won't sit here and say it was a perfect movie.
No, of course
There
not.
And
I'm
times.
not trying to shit on it. You know what I mean. It's just
No,
like
no, 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 no. I
it was
know.
just dark,
No, but
literally.
there were times also, like, for me, the most egregious was switching to handheld when Rosario Dawson's leading Ben through the home, and they switched to handheld when she like jumps. Like, that felt so unnecessary. What are we doing? Of course, I'm not I'm not a filmmaker, but it did feel very unnecessary. And no, that's fine, dude. Because I also was gonna preemptively tell everyone. Sorry, my ears are getting kind of sweaty. I was gonna preemptively tell everyone I will be talking about the ride a lot because before I lead into the synopsis, I had this revelation after I finished the movie last night. Is unlike Pirates of the Caribbean, the film.
Fucking love Pirates
I
of the
feel
Caribbean.
like I feel like the film can stand on its own without the ride. Just because I think Gore Verbinski and his team did such an amazing job of letting this world breathe without any references to the ride. Now, of course, there are the subtle references, like the prisoners trying to get the dog to come over, and the Tortuga in itself is a reference to the raiding of the town. But where I feel like the Haunted Mansion is surrounded by so much lore, uh, from cast members and even fans, and cast members taking those fan theories and adding them to the lore, and then Imagineers adding to the lore. I feel like it's hard to not see the movie as a companion to the ride.
Mhm.
So I wanted to preemptively tell everyone I will be talking about the ride a lot with the film, just because Justin Simeon and his team did such a great job, in my opinion, trying to bring in elements from the ride to make them live in the world
Mhm.
that he's created. So, with that being said, the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion follows Lakeith Stanfield's character Ben. Ben is a astrophysicist, specifically for lenses and telescopes, and he meets Alyssa, who becomes his wife, and then through some time, does the movie say? I don't remember if the
Mm-mm.
movie says how long it's been.
It did not.
Just some time has passed, and Ben is not in a good way. He is very much a skeptic, very much kind of a standoffish, and we don't know what happened to Alyssa. Alyssa's gone. He's then approached by Owen Wilson's character, a father, use that in quotes, Father Kent, to come and check out a new resident to New Orleans. I should tell you the film takes place in New Orleans. Gabby and her son Travis, who have moved into the old Gracie home, and they believe it's haunted. Ben doesn't believe this at first and just kind of humors them because Gabby's willing to pay him $2,000. Come to find out, the house is haunted. And every time someone steps into the home and then leaves, they are latched onto by a ghost to get them to get back to the house. Through some shenanigans, they learn history of the house from Professor Bruce, played by Danny DeVito, and the grief surrounding the house from Tiffany Haddish's character Harriet, who is a medium. And they all band together to try to figure out how to solve cleansing the house in a way. But what they determine is there's another ghost, the Hatbox Ghost, who's been keeping all the other spirits in the house and is trying to perform a ritual to return to the living world, trapping everyone in the house. And so he gets to roam freely. And he needs 1,000 souls to do it, and he has 999. After they learn who he really was, Alistair Crump, they find his top hat to use it in a banishing spell. Some more hijinks take place. Ben has to convince Travis to let go of his father, who passed away a year ago, and that it's okay to grieve, but we have to move on. Ben tries to sacrifice himself, and with the help of Madame Leota, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, they are able to banish the Hatbox Ghost, I guess, back to the ghost realm, hell, I guess. But the other ghosts, who are actually kind of happy and not evil at all, decide to stay in the house and live with Gabby and Travis, and the day is saved, and that is the Haunted Mansion. I yada yada'd over a lot, just because we're going to get into it. But firstly, this is my first bringing up the ride. I do really love that they pay homage to not only the original Disneyland, but also the one in Disney World as well. Did you have to look that up, or
No,
did you
I didn't
need
look
to do
anything
that?
up. I
Okay.
I'm like, I'm not gonna learn all this shit. So I figured you knew enough for the both of us. So
That is true.
about this sort of thing, and I assumed they were different. So
Yeah.
and my assumption is also that if anything were to be expanded upon story wise or lore wise, it would be world. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So the main house that we're in is based on Disneyland's version of the ride. Because at Disneyland, their ride is in New Orleans Square, so it's got this New Orleans, style to it.
Mm.
And then Alistair Crump's home is based on Disney World's, because Disney World's Haunted Mansion is in Liberty Square, so it's got sort of this, I think they said like Dutch Gothic architecture to fit with Liberty Square.
Uh-huh.
And also the name of Alistair Crump is a reference to Rolly Crump, who was one of the designers of the Haunted Mansion.
Gotcha.
Who I think just recently passed away.
Oh no.
I would highly recommend everyone watch the episode on how of Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus of this episode, because Rolly was still alive when they interviewed him, and he was called the Tim Burton before Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, and he seemed like a very cool guy, and the way he talks about Walt was really cool. But anyway, so okay, so I'm not going to talk about the ride all at the front. I'll scatter it out. So the story itself of the film, Ashley and I really, really liked, because we felt like not only, yes, of course they had to make references to the ride, but we felt like the story had a really good kind of, I wouldn't say wholesome, but sweet message on grieving and grief and moving on. And again, I think you're right. Lakeith Stanfield, I think, was such a great get for the role of Ben, to really navigate that film, the film's core theming of grief and grieving. And Lakeith just does such a great job of switching back and forth between really, really pessimistic, but then kind of being the smartest guy in the room,
Sure.
Now, I will say, having rewatched this movie, this will be the third time since we've seen it in theaters.
That's crazy.
We really like it.
I know.
It's a good.
Listen, I'm sorry. That's fine.
No. It's just, for me, it's a good fun time.
Uh-huh.
Like a good grand old time. Also, because I don't want to watch the Eddie Murphy version. Like, I just, and I'll get to why in a second, because I have rewatched that film, not recently, but I did rewatch it. I think I rewatched it in preparation for when this one was coming out, and I was like, man, this movie's not good. But I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so the story, I the same as you, I really like that they put it in New Orleans, and they really focused in on the culture of New Orleans so heavily, that it wasn't just, yeah, we're in New Orleans, cool. Like, no, the culture, the setting, the theme, everything works with. I feel like if they had done a version of the film based on the Disney World version of the ride, which of course, I should mention, the ride itself is the exact same with minor details changed for the layout. But I feel like if they would have done like like a Baltimore version of the movie to go with the theming of the Disney World ride, I feel like it wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like New Orleans is just as much as a character as everything else in the film. Now, with that being said, I do kind of agree with you with Tiffany Haddish a little bit. Like, I don't dislike Tiffany Haddish. I just feel like we have one too many characters we're following now. And like, really sitting and thinking about it after watching this, I mean, I'm not going to cut Danny DeVito. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to cut Owen Wilson. I'm not going to cut Rosario Dawson, and obviously I'm not going to cut Lakeith. He's clearly our main character. So unfortunately, that just leaves Tiffany Haddish. Like I don't know. I feel like yes, Harriet has kind of one of the most important jobs in the film, which is just spouting exposition about the house.
Mm.
However, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like this time I was like, does Harriet really, because Harriet's not the one who goes to the ghost realm in the seance. Ben does, I feel like, because I'm trying to think, like the number 5 doesn't really play a big part in the ride itself. So I'm like, why did they choose 5 characters? But I don't know.
I mean, then you got Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I just say, I love Jamie Lee. I love her so much, and I think she made a great Madame Leota. I, however, did not like how inconsistent her accent was.
That's funny. Is Madame Leota, is she in the ride as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I'll give you some stuff about the ride. So when you go through when you first go getting your Doom buggies, well, first you got to go into the stretching room, which is what actually brings you to the ride. In Disneyland, it's an actual elevator that lowers you. At World, because of the sea level, the ceiling actually raises.
Got it.
So you're staying put, but the ceiling's actually raising. But the effect is still the same. And then you get in your Doom buggy, which is so you hit up some of the minor things along the way.
Yeah.
Like you see, someone trying to get out of a coffin. You see the infinity hallway with the candelabra. If you're in Disney World, that's where you'll see the Hatbox Ghost first, which kind of breaks the theming, which I'll get to later. But then you go into the seance room where Madame Leota is having her seance, and then that's when you see all the spirits, because she's essentially summoned them.
Yeah.
And Madame Leota is actually in the ride. She's voiced and played by Leota Toombs, who was a Disney Imagineer.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, Madame Leota is just as important to the ride as everything else. So much so that there's spin-off books, and one book focuses purely on her. And giving her like more lore and backstory. Supposedly, Ashley and I haven't tried it. Supposedly, in the Memento Mori gift shop, which is the gift shop for Disney World, Disney World's ride, there's a picture of her, like a giant portrait of her. If you knock on the wall, she'll knock back.
Oh, that's fun.
Supposedly, Ashley and I are too scared to try because we don't want to be those guys in the gift shop that are like do we go too loud, too hard? So
sure,
we just don't even try. But yeah,
you guys don't want to be the weirdos at Disney World.
Yeah, we'll let other people do that. Ashley and I have we've kind of taken the stance of, if we see someone else being weird, then we'll be like, okay, yeah, like I think it's safe. Like they're doing it, we should do it. But yeah, so something I forgot to mention is because I wanted to talk about it. How did you feel about the I don't want to say reveal, because it wasn't like a secret that the film was trying to hide from everyone, but I guess the reveal of that all these spirits are here because a grieving widower was trying to contact his wife.
No, I thought that was really interesting. and that they get, you know, stuck at the house, I guess, because, you know, they're apparently it's just like a one-way thing, you know. These
Yeah.
seances. Um, no, yeah, that was cool. Um, I I appreciated that in terms of the backstory for, you know, explanations on why there are so many ghosts there, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was cool. Let's see. So originally when I started the movie, um, I saw it was over 2 hours long.
Is it really?
Blew my mind because I'm like, what do you
I'm gonna.
mean this movie's over 2 hours long? That's crazy. Um, not by much, but it's still 2 hours long. And so I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, what all is there to say, you know? Um, and so I felt like throughout the runtime, there was a few things I would be like, you know, or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
But that I appreciated. You're right. Um, some necessary explanation and exposition. Cool, got it. Um, I enjoyed that. I was a little confused. Um, where did I start getting confused? I think because like either the movie is assuming you've ridden the ride, um, or they're just not laying down proper groundwork for me to, you know, understand fully what's
Mm-hmm.
going on, or I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention. I was trying anyway. Um, because there's a few things in the movie where there are callbacks to certain moments in the movie near the end, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh wait, that was important, you know, or that was significant because I feel like you didn't earn that, you know.
Okay.
Um, like, oh man, do I have an example? I should because I just mentioned it. I mean, there were a few moments at the end where they called back like damn, now I don't have an example. Now I can't think of it. That's crazy. Um, I don't know. I felt like there were some unearned moments of like emotional weight that the movie is trying to pass off as profound or
Okay. I,
emotionally
I think I
significant.
know. I know what might help you. Like the reveal that the cat's name is Tater Tot.
Oh yeah, that was one of yes, that was one of them. I was like, wait, that I thought that was just trying to sell you Burger King, you know? Um, because yeah, I guess I didn't know that they had jalapeno poppers, you know? Like that's pretty
Yeah.
rad. I don't know if they still do. Um, but like to me that was so insignificant. And the movie was playing it as so profound. I was like, for what? He only
Yeah. No,
he mentioned tater tots one time when they were selling Burger King in the car.
well, he mentioned it one other time before
Oh,
that
did he?
about when he was reminiscing about Alyssa to everyone.
Oh, okay.
He said how she liked tater tots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, I do see what you're saying. And again, I want it to be clear. I do like this
No, I know,
movie
and
just
I want to
because.
be clear that I am not trying to pick apart this movie, and it's not
No,
my
no, no,
intention.
no, no.
I
Well, this is what we do. However, I do get your point
yeah,
because the film calls it a ghost wink, and Tiffany Haddish explains that, in my opinion, very well.
sure.
It was very well written, the scene where she's explaining how like her dad loved trains, and when she's feeling really low, she'll hear a train and she'll think of him and and be happy. So the film wants us to know, like, hey, the as Harriet puts it, the region beyond, they can sense these things. But you're right. Ben only mentions tater tots to everyone once, and that's after he gets back from the ghost realm. and explains to them why the Hatbox Ghost is so attracted to him
Mhm.
and his grief. And then Kent has that sort of forced, like, oh, tater tots, and like, nope, those are my jalapeno poppers. You know, and then because so much happens right after that, so it's kind of
Yeah,
hard.
I didn't
Like,
remember that at
and your
all.
and your defense, it that kind of just flies by so quickly.
Yes. And I think
And then we
also,
get
like, at the end, they're sort of, like, really hammering home the bond between Rosario Dawson and Lakeith, and I go, when? You know?
yeah,
Like,
implying that they are potentially going to start a relationship.
maybe, or at least, like, they've have this, like, found family sort of relationship where, um, you know, trauma bonding, basically.
Yeah,
Um, but to me, I was like, you didn't earn that. You know? Um, that's not, I don't know about that. Which is fine. I mean, these movies are meant to be a little heavy-handed and a little, you know what I mean?
yeah,
They are meant to reach literally the widest audience imaginable. So it's like it's hard to really complain about that because that it is what it is. I will say one of the highlights of the movie for me was Hassan Minhaj as the sketch artist.
yeah,
Um,
and being so annoyed by what they're asking him.
yeah,
Like,
big fan of
Ashley
Hassan Minhaj.
loves.
So
Yeah, he's so
he is
funny.
fine.
I love his fake feud with Ronnie Chang.
Yeah,
It's so good.
it's great.
Um, but yeah, that's one of Ashley's favorite scenes of the whole, like, and he didn't have lips. Didn't have lips,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know you caught it, but then they also got fucking Joe Coy to cameo in the movie as well.
Oh yes. Now him I don't care for as much. So I guess I just didn't remember. I know.
I thought you'd be so excited about that because I love Joe Coy as well.
Wasn't. However, I forgot about that. That was in the beginning. You're right.
Yeah, it is crazy the level of cameos they that they managed to pull off. Like you said, Winona Ryder, Dan Levy, which is crazy. I just read apparently Winona Ryder's uncredited and Dan Levy is credited.
Yeah, I remember like seeing his name in the opening. I was like, oh, didn't and then I forgot, you know. And then he pops up. I go, oh, there he is, and then he was gone, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Um,
So okay, I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna go with some behind the scenes stuff now. I think that you're gonna get some really excited. This film, since you said you didn't look anything up for it,
no, the only story I know about the ride itself that is of any significance to me because I thought it was interesting is when like the glass is so expensive in the I forget if it was Land or World, the glass got broken on one of them, and instead
I
of
think
replacing the glass because it would have cost like $100,000, it's very expensive. They just made it look like a spider web, and they slapped a spider on it, and they're like, "There it is," you know.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, the ride is the biggest Pepper's Ghost illusion ever. Which Pepper's Ghost is essentially for those of you who had ridden the ride, great. If not, I'll do my best to explain it. When you're at the ballroom scene, you're elevated on your doom buggy. If you're listening, I will try to do my best, but if you're watching, you'll see my hand gestures. But below you are all the animatronics, and there's a giant screen, glass screen between you and the floor, and it's projecting the ghosts in front of you because you're looking down. But yeah, I think it's World, and it's a crack with the audience's view, and yeah, they just stuck a spider. I learned that recently myself.
Yeah,
and I was like, no fucking way,
because it would have cost a fortune to fix, you know, and they'd have to shut down the ride, and they'd have to do all this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
smart.
And honestly, I I don't think anyone really
or
notices.
cares.
Like when I learned that, and like I saw the still, I was like, huh.
As long as it doesn't ruin the illusion, which it doesn't,
Yeah.
then it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So some behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
Back in 2010 is when they first started developing this version of the movie. And I think you're going to be really excited about this. Disney approached Guillermo del Toro to do it.
See, I would have liked that probably.
And are you ready for this? He wanted, let me make sure I'm reading it correctly. Guillermo wanted Ryan Gosling in it.
Oh, interesting.
He yeah, and Guillermo did submit a script apparently, and that's what got it its PG-13 rating.
I was
but
about
then
to
it
ask.
was then it was rewritten multiple times until the screenwriter who did take over, Katie Dippold. She's written for Parks and Rec. She wrote The Heat, the 2016 Ghostbusters film, Snatched. But they got her, and then of course they got Justin Simien to direct. I think it would have been really cool to see Guillermo's version, but I think it just was having a hard time getting off the ground. And I think because the script had already been rewritten, he was probably just like, yeah, okay. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
No. But because of Guillermo and his insistence on having the main villain be the Hatbox Ghost, this is what kind of like resurged the Hatbox Ghost. So now I'm going to get to some of the ride lore. So the ride was worked on for many years. It was supposed to be a day one opening attraction, but Disney didn't know if it was going to be a walkthrough attraction or a ride, if it was going to be scary or funny. And so he unfortunately never got to see it open. He passed away before they officially got it open. But they finished the ride. Well, Yale Gracie, which is where the name William Gracie comes from. Yale Gracie is the one who kind of designed a lot of the ghosts, and one he designed was the Hatbox Ghost. And the original effect was there was a light illuminating the Hatbox Ghost underneath his chin, and the light would go off and his head would appear in the Hatbox. Well, the lighting conditions were different when they first tested it until where they eventually installed it in the ride, which in the Disneyland version, you see him right before you go out of the attic. Which like I said is different than Disney World, because he's actually right when you are going by the hallway, which breaks the story. Again, get to that in a second. But the lighting was different, and so you could see both heads.
Oh.
And so the illusion was effectively ruined, and so Yale Gracie like lobbied to have it removed, because he was a perfectionist, and he was like, if the effect's not going to work, then we got to get it out of there.
Agreed.
And yeah, like they removed it. People kind of forgot about the Hatbox Ghost, but because of Guillermo, public interest kind of resurged on the Hatbox Ghost, and now they have restored the effect a little bit, and they made it better. And the reason why, like I keep saying, the reason why it ruins the story of the ride at Disney World, having him before you go through the seance room, is because the seance is supposed to be Madame Leota is summoning the spirits. You don't see a ghost before you go through the seance room. So why would the Hatbox Ghost be there? Ashley and I's headcanon is kind of like taking the movie's logic a little bit, which is he's a little bit more of a powerful ghost, so he can kind of do whatever he wants.
Sure.
That's our headcanon. Sure. Because, of course, at Disneyland, it doesn't break the story. He shows up after you go through the seance room. But it's just because the reason why he's in a different spot at World is because where he was supposed to be similar to land, since they didn't have him for the world version,
Yeah.
they didn't build the room for him.
I
So
see.
rather than just shut the ride down entirely and rebuild it, they just shut it down temporarily, put him where he was, and just put a sheet over him until they were ready to reveal him to the world.
I see.
But yeah. So the Hatbox Ghost, we have Guillermo del Toro to thank for the Hatbox Ghost, kind of getting a second life. And he is a very interesting villain, and I like what they did for the film of essentially making him a serial killer, because the original lore for the ride was he was one of Constance Hatchaway's husbands. So we could see Constance Hatchaway in the film.
Mm-hmm.
She has killed all of her husbands and chopped their heads off with an axe and has hidden them in hat boxes. And so the lore is he was one of her husbands once upon a time. And what's really interesting, what's really cool, when you go through the attic, because that's where you see, well, apparently she's no longer Constance, which I'll get to that too. When you go through the attic, you see wedding photos of her and a different guy each time.
Uh-huh.
And as you slowly start to go by the photo, their heads disappear.
Which happens in the movie, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently Disney reverted her back to her original ghost form, which is the beating heart ghost, where you can see her heart beating through her chest, which Ashley and I kind of don't like. We like the Constance Hatchaway story. But I like that essentially the movie was like, even though this was before Disney retroactively did that, I like that the movie was like, they use that lore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that's Constance Hatchaway right there.
Interesting.
Yeah. And also that's one of the funniest scene in my opinion, where Ben is trying to sweet talk her. Like, baby, like those guys, they probably deserved it, but I'm an ally. Like, it's so funny. But this kind of goes back again to the point I made, which is at the top of the show, which is that the ride has so much lore and so much surrounding it that it's kind of hard not to reference it.
Sure.
And circling back to my point about the Haunted Mansion, the Eddie Murphy version, I think that's where his version kind of falters a little bit, which is, I think they leaned too heavily on the references on the ride itself. Because, like I said, it's been a while since I've rewatched it, but I have rewatched it since I was a kid. And since I've ridden the ride, there's so many references to the ride, like in dialogue and in what's his name? Wallace or Sean Wallace? Wallace Shawn. Okay. He plays one of the butlers in the Eddie Murphy version, and they need to get out of the house to get to the crypt. And they can't get out of the house. And he goes, and it's a zoom in, and he's like, well, there's always my way, which is a reference to the ghost host. When you first enter into the stretching room, he offers you a chilling challenge to get out of the room because there's no doors or windows. And he says, but there's always my way. And then you look up and you see a skeleton hanging from the ceiling.
I see.
Implying that he killed himself. Which, that's also in the Eddie Murphy version. That's how Gracie kills himself in that version. So I felt like the Eddie Murphy version leaned too heavily on the references. Now, of course, this movie has those references, but I like that the story doesn't have to lean on them for the story to make sense, in my
I
opinion.
see what you mean. So what you're saying is like the Eddie Murphy version has, because it's not relying on the story of the ride itself, that it's having to overcompensate by uh, almost shoehorning in references to the ride for it to
Mm-hmm.
feel like it is a that is connected to the ride. I see.
Yes.
Um,
I feel like the Eddie Murphy version tried.
because it is
Hang
a
on, because let me
completely
make
different
sure.
story. I will tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. Eddie Murphy plays a realtor.
Yeah,
Yeah, because let me see.
and his wife
Because I think
resembles the wife of the owner of that mansion, who is a ghost.
yes.
Right.
And Terrence Stamp is in the
Oh,
movie.
they're so good. I love
Okay, so the Eddie Murphy version came out in 2003.
Yes.
Um,
I was 10. We were 10. And this is actually this is a good Jeremy lore story where we went to go. I went with my parents. You hadn't convinced mom to divorce dad yet, and so we went together as a family, as an intact
uh-huh.
family, and we got out of the movie, and mom sort of looks at the times for upcoming showings, and she goes, "Oh, Timeline is showing." And we're like, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want to go see Timeline?" And we're like, "Right now?" She goes, "Yeah." So we went to go see Timeline. Fucking way better.
Then the Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy
we
Haunted Mansion.
enjoyed Timeline more.
Yeah, so I just looked it up. Pirates of the Caribbean released worldwide July of 2003, and Eddie Murphy's version came out in November of 2003.
Mm.
Because I was going to say, I think what they were trying to do with the Eddie Murphy version was do what Gore Verbinski did, which is create a whole story
Right.
that isn't reliant on the ride with subtle references here and there. And I was going to say, I feel like that's what they tried to do, but that close apart, they were probably filming or wrapping up production around the time Pirates was probably coming out.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I would say that Haunted Mansion has sort of a disadvantage because Haunted Mansion like has a story, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
it
Pirates of
does
the
have a
Caribbean
story.
has like a through line narrative.
No, the through line is
I
just
mean, now I'm sure it does, but back then, no.
it still doesn't, although they've included Jack
Right.
Sparrow in the ride. It still doesn't. It's just more of like a, hey, look at these pirates doing these piratey
Yeah,
things.
ooh,
Isn't that
pirates.
cool?
Yeah.
As where, yeah, the Haunted Mansion does technically have a
Right.
story. Yes, it is Step Into This Haunted Mansion. It's the name of the ride. But it does technically have a through line. But it's just like, and I hate to keep harping on it, man, because I love Eddie Murphy. We love Eddie Murphy here. But God, it's not good. and I think that's why this version is a little bit better, because I think Justin Simeon and what did I say the writer's name? Katie
Yeah, I haven't.
Katie Dippold.
Okay.
I think they understood, like, okay, if we have to do this, we have to lean into the ride. Like, the story, yes, is important, but the elements of the ride have to make sense in this world. And I think that's what is the difference. Also, it's relatively a little bit more engaging. Yeah, there's elements like, okay, like, let me get to the parts I didn't like.
Okay.
I didn't like Kent being chased around Scooby-Doo style.
Okay. Yeah.
In the final act of him diverting, like, trying to divert all the ghosts. I didn't like sort of this forced relationship between Ben and Travis.
Okay.
Because it was giving very much like a little brother, big brother, reluctant mentor kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Not saying that Travis is a bad character, because it, it makes sense for Gabby's motivations, but it just, this forced thing between, because then Travis is dressing like Ben at the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And I just, I mean, I get it. They're trying to be like, oh, look how quirky he is, with his bolo tie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. Also, I'm sorry. We're meant to believe he's 9. That kid's at least 12. There's small things I didn't like. And that's more so from a story standpoint, not from like them referencing the ride in any way or anything like that. It just, the story just, and like I felt like they underutilized the Danny DeVito being possessed by the Hatbox Ghost.
Forgot about that.
I feel like we could have used that a little bit longer, but
Well,
just
not
gets
at all,
resolved.
because again, like like
that is true, because it is resolved almost pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, and then of course I already mentioned it, the switch to shaky cam, like, or handheld. Come on, man, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Actually, didn't notice that.
What are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah, overall, it's not. I won't be watching it again.
I would recommend you watch the Muppets Haunted Mansion. I think you would enjoy that significantly more.
I do love Muppets.
Critics did. Here, like, let me give you the rundown real quick. Hang on. So, I'll tell you this. At least critics liked this version more than Eddie Murphy's version. Eddie Murphy's version is rotten 14%.
Jesus.
Right?
That's low.
Yeah, and then this one is rotten 38%. So almost increased, like, by double. And then Muppets Haunted Mansion, are you ready for this? Fresh 73%.
Nice. All right, well, okay. Well, I'll check that one out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This movie sort of, like, yes, there was some stuff I really did like about it. But there's a little too much I didn't. And one of the, criticisms I have mainly is just, it was just too long.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest,
a little bit.
I never really realized it was 2 hours long.
Yeah, long.
Because, look, man, like, Ashley and I liked it, and I was like, yeah, man, this is a good time.
Yeah.
Never realized it was 2 hours long. I'm gonna have to ask Ashley, like, hey, did you know that was 2 hours long?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, like, look, I'm gonna be honest, I had a suspicion you probably weren't gonna like it. I mean, I won't lie, I was a little hopeful, like, maybe he'll be like, dude, that was pretty good.
Listen, like, as far as cameos go too, like, the other one that I really liked that a lot of people probably wouldn't have gotten was Mary Lou Henner. She is one of the Carols in the tour group in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Lou Henner is famous for 2 reasons. One, she was on Taxi with Danny DeVito in the 70s. And 2, she has I wouldn't call it a disorder necessarily, but she does have a memory like syndrome. She can recall every moment of her life. She's one of those that you give her a date of her life, she knows what she was doing, what she was wearing, what she ate that day. No matter how far back. So she only had to read scripts once, and then she got it.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. So that was cool. I get Mary Lou Henner, and then Danny DeVito. It was sort of like a little Taxi reunion with them not being in a scene together.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's not, whatever. But um but it wasn't terrible. I'm not gonna say it was terrible. Because it's not. It just, to me, it's just one of those movies where it's just fun entertainment, right? You get
Mm-hmm.
something you're familiar with, you get expanded, story on it, um, filled with people you recognize, and that's fun. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're doing the wrap up.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, again, maybe I'm a little biased. I will say it until the cows come home. At least this is better than the Eddie Murphy version.
Jesus Christ.
And if anyone disagrees with me, watch the Eddie Murphy version and then watch this one and tell me I'm not wrong. And also, I guess I am a little biased because, again, Ashley and I love the Haunted Mansion. We love the ride. We love the lore. It always makes us laugh when we see the rhyming tombstones in the queue. I mean, again, that's why I specifically wore my Haunted Mansion spirit jersey today. On the back, it says 999 souls, but there's always room for one more.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even mention plays. That's the whole thing with the ride. And the Hatbox Ghost is on the back as well.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, like I said, there are some things about the movie I think could have been better.
Sure.
I wish we lived in the timeline where Guillermo del Toro, we got his version. God, that would have been so sick, bro.
Doug Jones plays everybody.
It's just Doug Jones and Ryan Gosling.
That's right.
That's it. Ryan Gosling the whole time is just like, what would you think? And he turns around and it's another Doug Jones
ghost. Character, yeah.
Yeah. Doug Jones is having to like run behind camera and just like, I don't know.
Put more prosthetics on. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Cool, man. Well, I mean, look, am I happy you finally watched it? Yes. Now you got to watch the Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Sure.
I think you'll like that one significantly more.
I'd have to.
Yeah. But before we move on to what we're going to talk about next week, do you have another guess as to what my theme is?
I do. And it's going to piss me off if I'm right. Because it's just, like, you kept telling me, like, I'm being too specific, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, this is, like, just a shot in the dark, super generic. Like, is your theme movies that are available on Disney Plus?
I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you that one. My theme is Disney. Ugh. That's all it is.
Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna guess that.
Oh man,
Disney.
Like I said, you were right there.
I was like, yeah. I mean, it's like I'm getting that it's Disney, but I mean, it's got to be more specific than that.
Nope, not specific at all. It's just Disney. But I will tell you the parameters. Okay, here are my parameters. Okay. Number one, obviously, it had to be done by Disney. Now that's why I said I bent that rule a little bit with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Because technically it was Touchstone, but Touchstone is owned by Disney. Disney themselves acquired the rights. Yeah. So that's the only one I bent my rule on. It needed to have, my list needed to have a healthy mix of live action animation, and I threw in a couple of hybrids, live action and animation. And then the biggest one is it had to be a movie I was willing to sit down and actually discuss with you.
Sure.
Because like Mom, when I told Mom about it, she was like, yeah, like, are you going to do, I think she said Cinderella. And I was like, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, thanks.
No. I'm sorry. I cannot dedicate. I'm sorry to anyone out there who loves Cinderella, but I personally cannot dedicate time to sit here and talk about Cinderella.
Sure.
She was like, okay, what about Sleeping Beauty? I was like, absolutely. That's a even harder no. not that I dislike that movie in any way or Cinderella.
Right,
It's just
right.
I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about those movies.
Yeah.
So it had to be a movie that I was willing to sit down and actually discuss and have an analytical discussion about. But yeah, so those were my parameters. And you know what, man, I think some of the other movies on here, I think you're gonna be really jazzed on. I mean, you already know that Pirates of the Caribbean's on there.
Fucking wait.
You already know that as I told you off mic, Angels in the Outfield's on there.
Yeah, that's exciting. God, I love that movie.
I told Mom that was on the list, and she was like, "And you didn't put Sleeping Beauty?" I'm like, because it's fucking Angels in the Outfield.
It's Outfield.
Like, well, what are we even talking about right now? And then Mary Poppins and the animated 1973 Robin Hood are on there.
Yeah,
yeah, but I think some of the other ones,
the handsomest Robin Hood.
Yeah, exactly. One final one I'm going to leave you on, and I'm not going to tell you anything else that's on the list.
Okay.
The Black Cauldron is on my list.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. But with that being said, man,
I remember the VHS box being very sparkly.
Oh, nice. Well, with that being said, man, what are we talking about next week?
It's a good question. I'm looking at my list right now. And I also have a vacancy, too. So that's cool. That'll be interesting. So whatever that'll be. Which, by the way, I mean, it had to have been because, like, the movie that I had to take off because I'm never going to get this DVD. It'll never show up from Amazon. It's just gone. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. But that's like the only way you can watch it. So, well, like that's not. I mean, if I'm having a hard time, you'll have a hard time. It's just impossible. So I'll have to find something else for that. Let's see. We did The Trial last time. We had this one, which was very new. So I might need to pick something sort of in between those things. And let's do... Okay. So let me get my dates right. This movie's rad.
Okay.
It does have a remake to this, which I've not seen. But I never will. Gross.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like, why bother? Because this one is just, like, it is the perfect, it's like the perfect mystery thriller. Anyway, next week, we are discussing the 1988 Dutch-French film from the Netherlands, The Vanishing.
Oh.
Yeah. So there is an American remake with I think Jeff Bridges and Kiefer Sutherland, I think. But no way am I ever watching that because this one is way too good. Like I would never. God, this movie's rad. I saw it a few years ago, and it's one of those films where it really does put you in specific situations where they're familiar situations, but where your situation ended up being fine. This is worst case scenario. And you're like, oh man, like, like I know what this feels like. But it's like, this isn't working out the way it should. And it's like, it's so cool. Like this movie is so good. And it subverts your expectations on how a film like this should be structured as well. So, it's cool. And it's on the Criterion collection. So
I was going to say, yeah, it's on my wish list. I don't remember how it ended up there, to be honest. As I've mentioned numerous times, I'm sure it was from in the closet from an actor or writer or director I really liked. And I was like, it's good enough for them. It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I do remember I can't tell you what it said, but I do remember reading the blurb on the Criterion website. I was like, okay, you know what? I think I do really want to check this movie out. And even though I really wanted the trial for last week, I may convince Ashley to let me buy it for this one.
Nice.
Because I really want to see it. Because and the cover that Criterion did for the Blu-ray is so rad.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The dot art, and when you get further away, you can see her face.
Yeah.
On it. Yeah, man. Cool. You know, man. That's pretty good. I do a quote unquote kid-friendly comedy horror, and then we're gonna lead into a sort of a thriller mystery into next week.
I will say that the American remake is directed by the same person.
So kind of
like a Michael Haneke situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah,
but is it a shot-for-shot remake?
I don't think so.
Imagine he fucking did.
Well, I mean, then I feel like I would have heard if it was a shot-for-shot, because like Funny Games is so synonymous with having two versions that are exactly the same. That I would have heard about this one being exactly the same too, and I don't think it is. But I can speak to that one. But I can speak to this one, and it's amazing. So that's exciting.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited too. Yeah, I hope Ashley might let me buy it.
Sweet.
That would be great.
Yeah, it would be.
I would really like to have that. Cool, man. Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed this episode on Haunted Mansion, and we will see you next week for The Vanishing.